Welcome to the Modern Day Cottage. Today we're going to be sharing several recipes that are Italian inspired. We're going to be making a sourdough pizza, sourdough baguettes, and some delicious homemade bruschetta. We're going to show you all the simple steps that we take to make these recipes for our delicious Italian inspired dinner. We're going to start by making a sourdough starter. I do 30 grams of starter, 50 grams of water, and 50 grams of flour. Then you simply stir this with a non-metal utensil. I'm using a wooden spoon. You could use a silicone spatula as well. And then you're going to cover this and let it rise till double. And that is when it's at its optimal to use as a sourdough starter. You can use sourdough discard as well in your recipes. It just takes longer for it to rise. A lot of times I just use what I call a stiff starter. And what I do is I do 30 grams of sourdough starter, and I do 100 grams of water and 100 grams of flour, and I let it sit out for about 2 hours. Then I refrigerate it, and I only take out 30 grams of this stiff starter to make all of my recipes with. And that way I don't have a lot of discard left over. So if I want discard, I have to create extra discard. Our sauerkraut is complete. It's just been a few weeks and it's absolutely delicious. It is so sour and so full of all of those good probiotics for your healthy digestive system. We love eating sauerkraut with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is one of the best probiotics that I have found that is food-based, that my body really accepts. I don't do well with capsule probiotics, so I do really well with food probiotics. And then we're just going to refrigerate this. It's very simple to do. You can find this blog post at themoderndaycottage.com. It can be stored in the refrigerator up to 6 months, but it doesn't last that long. We'll be making a new batch soon. Alright, so we're going to make our whole wheat sourdough baguettes. And these are demi baguettes that we make in this video. So they're going to be smaller baguettes. And you can make larger baguettes by just dividing the dough into 2 instead of 3. What I'm doing here is called a salt ellipse. And what it means is it's just basically mixing in the salt with the flour and the water. In theory, doing this helps the sourdough starter to really work its best instead of mixing it in with the salt at the beginning. So now I'm mixing in the sourdough starter into the flour, salt, water mixture that I did earlier. And you're going to let that set for 30 minutes. Now I'm doing 3 series of coil folds, and then I'm going to do 1 series of a lamination, and that is what I'm doing here on the marble slab. You're going to stretch it out. You don't want to stretch it out till it tears, but you want to stretch it out till it's real thin, and then fold it back in and let it rest again. If you don't have a marble slab, don't worry. I just did this so that way you could see it in better lighting. You can do the lamination right there on your counter on a clean surface. Now we're going to start shaping our baguettes. This has sat overnight in the refrigerator to do a cold ferment, and I'm sectioning it into 3, and I ended up getting about 272 grams per demi baguette. But again, you can take the recipe and just half it to get 2 good size baguettes. They won't be large, but they'll be, normal size baguettes if you just divide the dough into 2. So now we're pre-shaping the dough. You're going to fold it in on its sides, and then from the top to the middle, and then again from the top to the bottom. And this is a cylinder shape. Ruby Ann is going to pre-shape her baguette. You're going to let this rest for 30 minutes covered after you've pre-shaped the cylinder. And then once it's rested for 30 minutes, now we're going to shape each of the baguettes. Pat down some of the air, and you fold the bottom to the middle and the top to the middle. And then you make indentions with your fingers, or you can choose not to do that, but make sure you have square sides. And then you're going to palm seal the top to the bottom. And then we're going to roll it out into the baguette shape. Start in the middle and then slowly work your way out the sides and then taper the ends. I'm not very great at shaping baguettes, but I do like eating baguettes, so I try my hand at them. I've been making them for a few years, but I also do not have the correct tools, so we are ordering a baguette peel, transfer peel, so we can do this a lot more effective because we can't transfer the baguette once we shape it onto the linen cloth. Something done is better than not done, so I feel like, use what you have, and if you like doing it, then invest into the right tools for the project. Alright, so you can see here, if you had a transfer tool, it would be a whole lot less invasive on the baguette. Alright, so now we're going to let them rise until we get the oven preheated. And then once they have risen, then we're going to transfer them into the hot oven. You can find this recipe at themoderndaycottage.com. Alright, so we're going to score it with a bread lane, or you can just use a razor. Carefully score at least 3 sections or 1 down the middle, so that way it keeps the integrity of the baguette shape. Now we're going to make this delicious bruschetta. If you've never had bruschetta, oh my world, you're in a whole new experience. If you like tomatoes and you like fire roasted tomatoes, you're going to love this. It is one of my favorite things to make in the springtime and summertime. To me, when I just hear the word bruschetta, I think summertime. And it is a very fulfilling meal. This in itself could be your meal with a side of protein if you need extra protein. But for us, the sourdough baguette with the bruschetta on top with fresh basil, it just hits the spot. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to pan sear the chopped up garlic. I use 2 cloves of garlic, and you're going to cook them until fragrant, about 30 seconds. Then you're going to add in your cut up cherry tomatoes. These cherry tomatoes have different flavors and different textures because of the different varieties. So I like to buy 2 packets of the variety cherry tomatoes. The reason why I purchased them is because our cherry tomatoes have not started producing yet. They do have babies out there, so we're super excited about that. A friend of mine gave me some more cherry tomato plants that actually have tons of babies on them, so I cannot wait to get them in the ground. We will be sharing that in the next vlog, where we'll be planting more out in our cottage garden. And then you're going to add in some balsamic vinaigrette. You'll top off the bruschetta with fresh chopped basil. This is one ingredient that I do not like to skip on because it just makes all those flavors and taste profile just really marry very, very elegantly. And then you're going to cook it down until it's like a marinara thickness. And then next you'll slice either bread or your baguette. We're going to pan fry that in salted butter on both sides until brown. I'm cutting the baguette on a diagonal cut because the baguette's not as big and plump as I was hoping for. You can get a larger surface area by cutting at a diagonal. We're going to pan sear the baguette pieces and salted butter, and then we're going to top them with the bruschetta. You could also take some Parmesan cheese and grate this over the top. Oh my world, it is so delicious. I have never experienced bruschetta before. I guess it was about 4 years ago when we decided to cook down the cherry tomatoes. I didn't even know I was making bruschetta. I thought, well, we can cook these down before they go bad, and then I thought, well, we can add some balsamic vinaigrette and then the fresh basil, and then it evolved from there, adding in the garlic. It is so delicious. I hope you get to try this recipe. We're making sourdough pizza, and you're going to mix in with some sourdough discard, baking powder, and baking soda. And if it's not thin enough, you can add in a little bit of milk. As Azuri and Amazon affiliates, any link below that you click on and make a purchase, please know that we may make a small commission at no cost to you. We only share products that we love and use here at our cottage. Into a heated 12-inch cast iron pan with oil in the bottom. I just drizzle a little bit of oil before putting it into the preheated oven. And then you can roll it around the pan to make a crust on the edge. But you do not have to do that if you do not want a crust on the edge. I like to do the edge on the side so it holds all the fillings in the inside when I go to cook it on the pizza stone. We didn't catch Ruby putting all the toppings on. We actually hit record, and I do not know what happened to the camera, but it did not capture it. But I made some marinara on the stove, and then we have some toppings to put on it. We're just going to put mozzarella cheese, some pepperoni, some onions, and top it with fresh basil. It is one of the simplest meals to make. We love having pizza night in the spring and summer on Saturdays. It's one of our treasured family meals that we have. We love talking about what projects that we have for the springtime. This year we're going to be doing a tiny home for my mother. My husband has already started on that. We'll get to show you in the next vlog. I can't wait to show you with each vlog what's going on with the tiny house and how it is coming along. I know my mother is excited, and I know Ruby Ann is super excited. This is our Italian-inspired meal for our Saturday night family dinner. And as always, we will share homemade recipes, cottage living, and a cozy home. We hope to see you in the next video.